I'm going to be showing you guys my everyday matcha routine, and I swear I stick to this every single morning. The only thing I probably change from time to time is from cold matcha to hot, depending on the weather. And I swear I've tried so many different matcha shops, so many different variations of matcha lattes, and this is the one by far that I stick to every day because the taste is just unlike anything else. So this is everything I'll be using. Obviously, we'll be using Aura matcha. I have some coconut milk. I have some stevia, and this is what I usually use every single morning. But I also have some other options for sweeteners, just so you guys have some variety. I also have my matcha tools. I have my matcha sifter, my matcha bowl, and my matcha whisk. And of course, I have my tea kettle for hot water. So first things first, I'm going to heat up my water. I like to keep my water between 140 and 165. There are some people that say you can go up to 175, but I like to keep it safe. There are chances that you could burn your matcha and it will affect the nutrient profile, and it will also affect the taste as well. So I like to keep mine below 165 just to keep it safe, but you guys can play around with it as well. So as that is heating up, I'm going to prepare my matcha with the bowl and the sifter. So I have a half a teaspoon. You guys can either start with a half a teaspoon, or you can do a full teaspoon. I usually do a full, but it's really just up to you. Is my next teaspoon, or half a teaspoon. So now I'm going to just sift out the matcha to make sure that there's no clumping. This just really helps to blend your matcha more seamlessly into the milk or whatever you're using. I like to get the back of the spoon just to make sure you get all the matcha. So now we're going to take the matcha whisk. Some people like to use the electric frothers as well. That's totally fine. Whatever you have is just perfect. I personally like using the matcha whisk, so whatever you like to use or whatever you have on hand is perfect. So now I'm going to take my hot water and I'm just going to barely cover the matcha, making sure that I don't put too much water. I do this because I don't want the matcha to get super watered down and lose its flavor. So I try to use as little water as I can, but I will show you guys how much water I use. So as you can see, I'm not putting too much water, just enough to cover the matcha. Now I'm going to take my matcha whisk and whisk everything up until there's no clumps, until it is completely smooth. So now we are just whisking up the matcha. I always love tuning in and connecting with the matcha at this point because you can just see the vibrant colors, you can smell it a lot more. So once your clumps are all completely out, you can add a little bit more water, not that much. You guys can see how much I pour. But it's really just to help it pour into the glass. You guys can see how much I add. It's really not that much. And that's good. You don't want it to get overly full. You can tell that it's not that much water. It's just enough to cover the bottom half of the bowl. Okay, so now I grabbed some ice. I should have filled this up earlier, but I have one left, so it was perfect. I'm going to take my glass, but I also want to mention that you can have matcha warm as well. That's actually the more traditional way to drink matcha. But for me, I live in a warmer area, so I like to have my drinks more icy and refreshing. So it's really just up to you and where you live and what you feel comfortable doing. So if you were to make this drink warm, you would just do everything except for the ice, obviously. So I'm just going to take the ice out and add it to my glass. Now we're going to be pouring some of your favorite milk. You can do regular milk, you can do plant milk. It's really whatever you prefer. I like coconut milk. It's my go-to. It's what I use all the time. So I'm going to just add a little bit. And next, I'm going to be adding the sweetener into my drink. So like I mentioned earlier, you guys are welcome to use really any sweetener you prefer. I personally like stevia. I know it's not a favorite for everybody, but I personally like it. I don't seem to have a problem with it. But there are other options. You can use coconut sugar. That's also a healthier option. Or you can use monk fruit, which is also a great option as well. So it's really just whatever you prefer. I honestly like how this sweetness tastes with my matcha drink. I feel like it's just a perfect amount. So you guys can play around with it at home, but I just wanted to show you guys my specific routine. I'm going to add in my sweetener, just a few drops. and then I'm going to whisk it a little bit. And again, you can also do this with these as well, and whisking those in the hot matcha. Next is the fun part. We get to pour the matcha in, and I feel like this is the most mindful practice for me. I just love seeing all the different colors mix in with each other, and this is just, I swear, this routine doesn't beat anything else, and I appreciate it so much. I'm so grateful I found matcha. So now we're just going to pour it in. Look at how pretty it is. And you might have some leftover matcha, like foam, inside of the glass. So feel free to add a little bit more water just to get the residue. Not too much, just because you don't want to overpower the matcha and make it too watery. Just pour the rest in. And now this is my favorite part. So pretty. So good. Well, you guys, this is my everyday matcha routine. I really hope you enjoy it, and I'm excited for you guys to try it out for yourself. And if you do, please let me know. Reach out, share it. I'd love to hear your experience and if you enjoy it.